within a couple months of that time period of me, just feverishly trying to figure out like how I'm going to support my family, I was at home in my own bed and I died. I had a near death experience. Now, I
Uh-huh.
know this is highly unusual, Heather, because most people are, in surgery, right? And the anesthesia, they have a
Right,
reaction to the anesthesia, or they have a heart attack
right.
somewhere remote, or I mean, I'm sure you and your husband have heard hundreds of stories.
Hmm.
Mine is quite different.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Adventure Within. My name is Heather Fritz. I am a healer, clairvoyant, and meditation teacher. Joining me today is Amy Marohn. Here are a few brief highlights about Amy's life and what led her to the field of spiritual healing. Over a decade ago, she became very sick from a mysterious condition of unknown origin. It took about 5 years to get a diagnosis, and by this point, she had missed the optimum window for mainstream interventions that could have contained or even completely reversed her illness. Fast forward to a near death experience that inspired Amy to live more intentionally while simultaneously opening her spiritual pathways to a higher frequency realms. The concept of spiritual hypnotherapy came to her rather than from her with every passing season since the opening of her spiritual healing practice. Enhanced energies and techniques continue to reveal themselves. Amy experienced the efficacy of these interventions firsthand, as she used them to restore her body to a state of physical quaalude, which in turn set her soul on fire to help others heal from within. A 25-year history of a field in rehabilitation has served as a perfect foundation and training ground for discovering her true calling, which is far more intuitive and mystical driven. Amy helps light workers and business leaders release unproductive patterns and recalibrates to a frequency of authentic self. She offers intensive one on one sessions virtually and in person in the Seattle area, as well as ongoing spiritual coaching support for small groups, workshops, and advanced study. You can find her new book on Amazon, Whispers Beyond the Veil: Channeled Techniques Inspired by the Spirit World.
I'm ready.
All right,
I'm
let's do it.
ready. Let's roll with it, sister.
Perfect. All right, I am going to start off like I usually do with all of my guests. I usually ask, hey, where did your spiritual journey begin, or where did your proverbial like shift happen?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Heather, over 10 years ago now, gosh, I think it's now been maybe even close to 12 years now, coming up on 12 years, I experienced some mysterious symptoms
Hmm.
that manifested in the form of chronic fatigue,
Hmm.
chronic pain, um, orthostatic intolerance.
Orthostatic intolerance.
Yeah, I just, feeling like I was gonna faint,
Oh, okay.
very lightheaded, issues with my heart and my blood pressure.
My gosh.
Now I understand it to be dysautonomia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the autonomic nervous system goes haywire.
Mm.
And I literally had spent close to 5 years trying to find, the origin of these symptoms, and
Mm-hmm.
even better yet, like a name to slap on
Right.
this
Like I'm being attacked. I need to know
this
what.
condition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the irony was at the time when these symptoms hit the hardest, I was actually working as a rehab consultant at a pain management clinic,
Aha.
on an interdisciplinary team of physical therapists, occupational therapists, pain psychologists, medical doctors,
Mm.
and
So you've just always been a healer. Okay.
yeah, well, but in a totally different way than I am now. And there was a naturopath um, on the staff, and long story short, here in Washington, they can practice alternative and Western. And whenever he took my vitals or listened to my heart or my symptoms, he would always tell me immediately to go to a cardiologist.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of scary.
right.
Or he'd send me home because I'd be running a fever.
Oh,
And the
oh.
fever, it would just be like a low grade fever that would spike occasionally.
Mhm.
But things just got worse and worse.
Mm.
And finally, it became clear that the doctors who were trying to help me weren't getting anywhere. So I took matters into my own hand, and I started doing internet research, plugging in all of my symptoms to see like what, you know, what comes up, what conditions come up. And lo and behold, some Friday evening, I was on the couch feeling like, holy hell.
Oh,
And the name of a practitioner in Michigan came up.
oh.
And he helped people with chronic fatigue,
Mhm.
chronic pain, a lot of the symptoms, and a condition called ME for short, myalgic encephalomyelitis. That's a mouthful.
Right. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, it's a neuromuscular condition.
Yeah.
And I remember shortly thereafter calling his office in Michigan,
Mhm.
myself, talking to the staff and saying, you know, giving them a summary of the lab work, where I had all of it. Seemed to me that my immune system was not functioning
Right.
properly. I was unable to fight off viruses and infections,
Mm.
multiple trip to stay overnight several days for observation in the cardiac unit,
Oh.
um,
Mm-mm.
lung infection after lung infection for no reason. Um,
Right. Oh my gosh.
just weird things, bleeding gums, digestive issues. I mean, it literally, whatever this was running through every system of my body.
Mm.
And it was scary.
Oh yeah.
Because, yeah, I was getting to the point where I couldn't even stay awake and alert for more than 2 hours a day. So I believe I was actively dying. And
Oh, I
so,
would believe that as well. I'd be like, all
yeah,
right, that's end of this world. I'm just
no
down.
answers, right? No answers, no doctors who are willing to get really aggressive, right? They've got a
Right.
few tools in their tool bag. They're ruling out things. Well, so I reach out.
But they don't know anything either.
They don't, right? And I'm trying everything, alternative medicine and Western medicine, no answers, no answers. I'm
Hmm.
getting desperate. Well, at this point, I'm recognizing that my career will have to come to a screeching halt if we don't get a handle on this.
Right.
And I, was separated on the cusp of going through a divorce, a single mom, new house. My mom moved here. My elderly mom moved here from New York. She had just lost her husband. I had a lot on my plate. And
Right.
so
Yeah,
this
you're dealing
doctor,
with grief and all.
oh,
Oh.
all the things, Heather, all the things.
Mm-mm.
So I get on the phone with this doctor's office, tell him my symptoms. I bothered to gather all of my lab reports and everything. I was getting ready to, have my doctor's office send over or give them access to my records. They left me on the phone. I think it was like a Monday. And they left me on the phone. I'm not kidding, 20, 25 minutes. It might have even been a half hour. It was a long time.
Yeah.
And they get back on the phone and they say, the doctor will see you. And I almost fell off my couch, right? Like I'm not another doctor or colleague calling him. Um, he's pretty well known, Harvard educated doctor. And they say, well, he can see you Thursday. Well, I'm in the Seattle area. He's
Right.
in Michigan. I'm still working at this point, full.
Right.
So anyway, long story short, I end up to flying to Michigan on a Thursday. He does a whole battery of tests, and finally slaps a label, ME, on this condition. Essentially, my cells don't produce enough energy. And my
Yeah.
son, now a college student, said, and the other issue is, Mom, your cells don't know how to die. Which I thought was very interesting.
How old was
Uh,
he?
he's 21.
That's but
You know,
at the time he was kind of a kid, right?
well, no, more recently, since he's been taking college math and science. Recently, he said, yes, but more accurately, Mom, your cells don't know how to die. And I'm like, hmm. And I've shared that with a few other medical people, and they're like, he's not wrong.
No, that's a
Um,
fun way to phrase it though.
yeah, your cells don't know how to die. I'm like, oh, how do you wish your cells die? But so literally for 10 months, once a month, I would fly to Michigan to try this protocol
Hmm.
that the doctor was the only person in the United States that was able to use this medication at this
Mm.
dosage. And
Ah.
from what I understand, it's a medication that they were giving, end of life AIDS patients.
Oh.
So it's, an antiviral medication, um, but in a pretty high dose. Well, my body, I mean, at this point, I'm losing tons of body weight. I'm probably down to 102 pounds.
Oh,
I knew intuitively my body wasn't absorbing nutrients
right, right. Because when everything's thrown off. Yeah, 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 yeah.
completely. So, and at about month 6 or 7, I realized I'm getting sicker. Like, this is not
It's
working.
not doing it. Yeah.
It's not working. And so I miss the window of time. Apparently, if you're able to diagnose this within a certain period of time, according to this doctor who has now since passed, that there would be possibly a way to reverse this or cure this. Well, I
Right.
was way outside that window.
Mm.
And so here I am. By the way, my insurance isn't covering any of this. It's flights, it's renting a car. I'm going by myself. I'm
Right.
staying in a hotel Thursday to Sunday
And you're
once a
still
month.
fatigued and exhausted, getting worse, right?
I'm exhausted. I'm spending all of my resources, all of my time, all of my energy. And, my employer is like not understanding this. Like, what is going on? Traveling with
Oh,
my computer, right? A lot of my job really requires me to be in this pain management clinic. So, anyway,
yeah,
um,
man.
I finally at month 10, I just told the doctor, thank you so much. I absolutely love and adore you for slapping a name on this and for trying. This doctor had the same condition himself. He experienced, I believe, inflammation of the heart in the prime of his career and ended up, hospitalized himself and having to take a break from the medical field. So he really understood what I was going through. But here he is working into his 80s. So whatever he did for himself worked. And I know
Right,
it works for some people, but it didn't work for me.
right.
So I come home and I'm absolutely I can't even describe the grief. Throw my hands up in the air and I said, God, either take me or heal me, but do not leave me this way. I was ready
Right.
to go. I
Yeah.
was ready to go, right? My
Hmm.
body was exhausted. Shortly thereafter, I ended up resigning for my job.
Hmm.
And the divorce was on the cusp of, being finalized. I've got this young kid wondering why his mom can't get out of bed.
Mm.
Lost my career. I am badly in debt. And again, I'm just like, here we go. Then just like I'm useless. Wipe me out. Like,
Uh,
what
oh.
more is there? This it was like this slow
Rock
torturous
bottom had a
death.
basement, basically.
Exactly. So within a couple months of that time period of me, just feverishly trying to figure out like how I'm going to support my family, I was at home in my own bed and I died. I had a near death experience. Now, I
Uh-huh.
know this is highly unusual, Heather, because most people are, in surgery, right? And the anesthesia, they have a
Right.
reaction to the anesthesia, or they have a heart attack
Right.
somewhere remote, or I mean, I'm sure you and your husband have heard hundreds of stories.
Hmm.
Mine is quite different. And all I can say is, you and I talked about astral travel, and people have said, how do you know you weren't astral traveling? Wow. I will tell
It's a
you,
whole other thing.
it is a whole other thing. And I came to understand it as a near death experience based on what happened afterwards, which
Mm.
is nothing short of mind blowing. So, in this experience, I could literally feel my soul lift out of my body at a speed I cannot even articulate.
Yeah.
And unlike many people who experience like going down the tunnel and the light and, this feeling of floating or whatever that feeling is, my experience in this, I'll just call it heavenly realm or other realm,
Yeah, yeah.
was
Other dimension.
clairaudient.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was clairaudient and clairsentient. Okay.
Oh,
And
so
and
you
so
felt
for
and
the
heard everything. I love it.
absolutely right. So for those who aren't psychic or, you know, no don't know like some of the mediumship terminology,
Hmm.
clairaudient, that's one of my strongest
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
um of the clairs. And that's, I'm it's you're getting messages or thoughts or ideas
Hmm.
um mentally,
Hmm.
right? and
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
you're not actually hearing a voice per se,
Right.
but you're translating through mental telepathy a thought or an idea.
Hmm.
um Clairaudient, and then clairsentience is feelings,
Hmm.
right? Sensations,
Hmm.
energies, emotions moving through us. So I experienced that in the highest volume
Oh,
I
that
could
had to
ever
be, I was like,
experience.
that had to be intense if you were
It
feeling it.
it
Wow.
was intense. So I hear this thought come through, this etheric voice from a higher realm say, "Are you ready to leave the earth plane?"
Ooh.
And
Heavy question.
it is a heavy question, right? And who knows, since time doesn't really exist in the etheric realm, like who knows, was this 7 seconds, 7 minutes?
Hmm.
I don't know.
Right.
But the next thing, before I could even answer, this is the clairsentient part, and it's pretty wild. I was literally downloaded the cumulative effect emotionally that my departure would have on my son.
Ooh. Ooh. That.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Right.
Ooh.
Yep. We've
Uh,
bypassed, now we're tapping into the emotional body vis-a-vis the
yeah.
soul. And I remember thinking,
They're like, oh, if you leave, this is what he's gonna feel. Ta-da! Wow.
yes, exactly. And it ricocheted through every part of my
Mhm.
soul to the point where it didn't matter how much physical pain I was in. It didn't matter how much suffering this condition was going to bring me, that there was no way, given my life circumstance, I was ever going to leave my son. Now, I know there are people who are more conventionally minded, even on the near death experience, in the sense that they're like, wow, I don't know if I'm ready to accept humans as having a choice of
Mm.
whether or not to stay and go. I mean, that's a radical departure from conventional thought, right?
Hmm.
And I've heard other people have similar stories or
Yeah,
similar
I've
feelings.
heard several people where they're like, you're good, you can leave. And they're like, nah,
Yeah,
I want to go back.
exactly. Exactly. And I did. I mean, prior to that experience, right? My my statement to the etheric realm was like, hey, this is tough. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think this is beyond anything I could possibly endure. And so once I felt those feelings, those emotions, that heavy grief, that heavy sadness, and then also just knowing that my mom, also the grief she would feel, and
Mm-hmm.
having an elderly person, then be the sole provider
Mm.
of my son, even though she is an outstanding grandmother and
Hmm.
would
Of
have
course.
done and has helped me tremendously. I mean, just a fabulous job with my son. That is a heavy
Mm.
burden for somebody with health issues of her own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I remember thinking, no, I can't go. And so here's what then the message that came through was, if we send you back, you will live more intentionally, right? In other words, you're going to complete your soul contract,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, there's more. And of course, at that point, Heather, I've only ever really worked in mainstream employment, and I'm sicker than death.
Right.
Right. Right. And so now I'm agreeing to whatever terms I signed off on in our soul contract.
Right.
And I go back into my body. And
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, from that moment on, my life has been not an easy journey, but
Right. Because the spiritual journey is so not easy.
it's not easy. But I will tell you, from that moment, the best way I can describe my experience as a spiritual being is I have one foot all the time in the higher realm and one foot here on the earth plane.
That's awesome.
Right. Like, so I am literally, I fluidly at this point toggle through the higher realms in this realm. I'm like just back and forth, back and forth. And
That's
so,
awesome.
yeah. And so I know that that was a really long story around the
Oh.
near death experience, but I hope that answers your question. There's definitely more in terms of my mediumship unfoldment,
Oh
as they
yeah.
say. And
Yeah.
and I can share how I ended up in this field, because like you said, a lot of people don't recognize like how transformative that near death experiences till many years later, but mine was pretty immediate.
I was gonna say, it sounds like
Yeah.
yours was like right after you were right in it. Like, yeah, no, it's that's incredible. Wow. I'm I how do I say this? I feel like whatever guide or being was like, "Here, I'm going to just give you this little present of like feeling all the grief that your loved ones will feel
Yeah.
when you pass." I feel
Right.
like it was kind of emotional blackmail because they're
Yes.
like
Right. Heather, you're right. You're right.
I'm like, "Hey, hey." They were like, "We know,"
Yeah.
because they were like, "You're not done."
Yeah.
And
Completely.
they were like, I'm not sure who, I'm guessing it was one of your guides, but
Yes.
I could definitely, I'm like, yeah, they just kind of emotionally blackmailed you back into your body because they're like, wait, you're not done. You got more to
Yeah.
do. Hold
Completely. Well, and Heather, you're right. You know what's fascinating about that, though, and I'm just realizing this as we talk.
on. Uh-huh.
You know, I've had with my clients and my workshop groups, as you can imagine. I'm sure you and your husband experience the same thing in your circle of light workers. Some mind bending conversations,
Oh,
like
yeah.
around grief and loss, and what do souls of our loved ones feel on the other side. And
Mm-hmm.
what I can tell you with an unwavering sense of confidence is that when our loved ones pass, they do feel our grief.
Mm, yeah.
They do feel our grief, evidenced by the fact that that was fully my experience during those, whether it was milliseconds
Mm-hmm.
or moments.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because
and it
energy happens
translated.
first before it happens physically.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it was already
absolutely.
happening for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
It's it's like emotionally I was catapulted into the future
Mm-hmm.
to see like cause and effect and feel it on
And
a
again,
deep
because time is
emotion.
a man-made thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
I had to throw that
yeah,
out.
absolutely. So, within a month's time, I started experiencing what I now understand to be physical mediumship
Yeah.
um, cues
Mm-hmm.
from the higher realms. And it came in the form of knocking,
Oh.
knocking on the
Well, at
walls.
least they're
What
polite.
sounds like knocking on the wall? Very loud knocking on the wall. And
Okay.
usually, right, um, in that, you know, the sweet spot for spiritual activity seems to be between what, like 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
and 4 a.m.
Yeah. It
And
always seems that way. The witching
yeah,
hour, you know?
absolutely. And I'll share later if we have time what more about what happened at 2:50 this morning because it's back. So they were knocking and these they over time over the last decade it's been 2 knocks, 3 knocks or 4 knocks. And I realize now that those are different energies or tribes or clans, whatever you want. They're distinctive
Ah.
whole groups that are reaching out to me.
You have secret knocks with other beings. That's cool.
I do the secret knock. This morning it was boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, okay, I know you, I know you. And it
Mm-hmm.
comes with directives like get up. This morning it was Amy, um, we have something to share. And I was like, oh, I have a podcast in the morning. I have an 8 a.m. client. Really? And they say, um, wisdom is available for the listening ear.
I love that.
And so I got up this morning, got the download, but it started back right after my near death experience, and it was a sound nobody else in my household heard.
Mm.
Either they slept through it, or again, my spiritual ear is open. It's part of my clairaudient
Mm-hmm.
abilities. So
Yeah,
the knock.
usually when you're turned on and tuned in, you're kind of the only one.
Oh, completely, right? So this knocking with all these directives, and I started writing these deep spiritual pieces.
Yeah.
Sometimes the downloads would be in the form of visual parables
Mm-hmm.
where I'd see a storyline and then I would translate that into a blog or an article. And this went on and on and on. And then one day, again, I had been practicing. I realized, oh, the spirit's calling, time to get up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. or 4. And this went on literally, I mean, to present day with some breaks in between.
Right.
But during this time period, now, right, the spiritual pathways are blown open. The veil is lowered. I'm walking down my hallway here in the lower level of my home, and I hear a voice saying, "You will go back to school."
Mm.
And I'm like, well, isn't that interesting? 7 years of college wasn't enough.
You're like,
Um,
ah,
and
really?
I'm sick, right? Like, I can't hold down a job and you want me to go back to school, right?
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, that's really crazy. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt, Heather, that did not come from me. It came through me. It was a very
Mm-hmm.
distinctive, commanding,
Mm-hmm.
calm, but persuasive energy.
Right. You can't always describe it to other people. They're like, oh, it's
Mhm.
just a voice in your head. And I'm like, but it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So a few days later, I walked down the same hallway and it says, you're going back to school to be a hypnotist.
Oh,
And
at least they gave you a topic. Sometimes
exactly.
spirit's so vague. They're like, oh, you're gonna like get a dog soon. You're like,
what
Oh,
kind of dog? Yeah, I mean, yeah,
you got a timeline on that? Like next week, tomorrow? Like what do we,
exactly, exactly. Right. And the wildest thing about that, Heather, is I had never been to a hypnotist. I didn't know a hypnotist. I had never researched how to become a hypnotist. I had never ever, I mean, it wasn't even in my,
Scope of thought.
sphere of
Yeah.
awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Certainly didn't represent any of my colleagues in my past field. Um, so I'm like, okay, there's something to this. Do you know, within 24 hours, I was online researching, how to get certified as a hypnotist, had that really awkward, weird conversation with the instructor. Hey, by the way, I think I'm dying. Oh, I can only stay awake 2 hours a day. I'm probably going to have to move to this town during the duration. And what's the quickest training we can do? Because I got to start working soon. I have no money. And
Right.
then the other
Like
awkward
I
talk.
can't pay you. I can't
Yeah,
always show up.
right. Right.
But
Well,
can I get in,
I know. And to have the awkward conversation with my mom,
please?
who
Mm-hmm.
is, a retired science and math teacher,
Mm-hmm.
of like, okay, I have this connection with spirit, and this is what I've been guided to do. Right. And
That's always fun when you tell family that. They're like,
oh,
"Why did you do that?" Well,
yeah.
someone told me.
Yep. Yep. And I went to my mom and I said, look, um, we have a name for what I have. It turns out there's no cure for this.
Mm,
But I know that as long as I'm a mom and a daughter, I have to try at least to do something useful with my life. And so I want to start this program. I'm going to do it on weekends. It will be done in, I don't know, a handful of weekends.
mm-hmm.
And then we're just going to try this. And I couldn't believe it. My mama was the most practical human on the face of the earth, who needs to see like clear and present, measurable
Mm.
evidence
Oh, she's one of
before making
those.
any decisions. And, you know, um, very careful with her money, says,
Mm-hmm.
okay, writes me a check and says, go do it.
All right.
And I'm like, oh, right.
You
I
got
mean,
her on a
it's
good
not like
day.
I'm right. It's not like I'm going back for another bachelor's degree. This is a certification, right? So anyway, that same very month in oh, I think it was January in 2016.
Mm,
I'm done mid-February. Um, do a little additional training, for good measure, and throw up probably a pretty pathetic website. I have no payment system. I'm
mm-hmm.
not from this area. I've lived here for a while, but I'm like, how do I even do this? Throw a few ads out there. And people started booking sessions, and I didn't know what to charge people. Um, some of them were friends and people I knew.
Mm-hmm.
I was taking cash. Whatever people could afford, what could afford, I needed the experience. And
Right.
magical things started happening right away, Heather.
I love that.
The energy part of what I was doing, spirit was coming through. I was able to see things, feel things, sense things. I mean, I was practicing in modalities. I had other modalities I had no formal training in.
I was gonna ask, so you do like trance healings, and so I was like,
Yeah.
oh, did you get formally trained with
Yeah.
that? Like, did you go to a psychic school, or did you just do this hypnotist thing, and then spirit just kind of guided you from there?
Well, absolutely. I mean, my greatest trainers are in the etheric realm,
That's
right?
awesome.
Have I done training? Yes, absolutely, Heather. I
Mm-hmm.
have absolutely studied under, many other psychics and mediums,
Oh, perfect. I love that.
gone to, workshops and conventions and retreats and all the things. But I now know that as much as I have such a great love and respect for
Oh yeah.
mediums and psychics around the world, the value of those programs were in the friendships
Yeah.
that I developed with my tribe, with my soul
Yes.
tribe,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Because the
You
most
know?
the most tailored way for it to work for you is from spirit.
Uh-huh.
Like it's
Yes.
you have your own answers, and that's like a big
Yes.
thing that I preach, that it's
Oh,
like even though I teach you how to turn your stuff on,
yeah.
I don't have your answers.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it's you, like I just telling you how to turn it on so you can get your answers. That's all.
Yeah. That's exactly right. The answers are within. And
Hmm.
I always have felt, right, now that I work more in the realm of metaphysical healing and,
Hmm.
what I call mediumship healing, or channeling,
Mm.
um, my job is really more that of a coach or a guide
Hmm.
in helping other people ignite the
Love
healer
it.
within, right?
Yeah.
And strengthen their relationship with the higher self.
Hmm.
And if it applies to their um, model of thinking, a higher power, a spirit guide, whatever it is they think brings forth, balance and harmony and wisdom. And I always say, my job is to help people dust off their soul and their wings. Um,
Yeah.
because yeah, because I really, it doesn't matter if the people who come to me are working in what seems to be, a mainstream role.
Hmm.
98% of the souls who wander into this space are absolutely, undeniably light workers in their own right.
Oh yeah. Well,
And so
there's
that's
yeah, there's light work in everything you do,
everything.
even if it is just customer service and you're answering the phone at
Yes.
AT&T. You're
Yep. Absolutely, there is. And I love to debunk that myth, right?
Mhm.
Because, and we'll talk a little bit more about my book, because in the automatic writing piece that I just published, right, where I'm bringing through uh, wisdom from the higher realms, I was told mediumship is our birthright.
Oh yeah.
It's deeply inculcated into our soul,
Hmm.
right? And I have been saying for the last near decade, in a lot of religious circles, the concept of the chosen one is a very popular, right? Exactly. And I'm just like, no,
I know they're like, you could only go to church to get your answers. I'm like,
exactly.
nah, I literally had this conversation with a farmer out here, like, love him
Yeah.
dearly. He's like, oh,
Uh-huh.
where do you and your husband go to church? And I'm like, I got more of a direct line. I
Exactly.
was like,
You don't need it. You don't need a third party interpreter, right?
I was like, I don't judge people for going. Go, like, get your hoorah on, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh. But right. Everybody has a different tools and different spiritual journey.
Hmm.
I say it's not the chosen one, it's the willing one,
Ah, I like
right?
that. I like that.
The
I'm actually
willing
going to write
one.
that down. Not the chosen, the willing one.
The willing one, right? Those who are creating space for that to develop. I say, it's when people say, Amy, how do I strengthen or begin, to open up those connections? And I say, I liken our, our dance or relationship with spirit to be very similar to our friendships here on the earth,
Oh, oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
It is, there's a time where we are, for lack of a better word, courting and getting to
Yeah.
know each other,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
right? And to know, like, we've got a language all our own,
Yes.
right? And what and spirit, along with your higher mind, figuring out, like, do I learn best visually?
Hmm.
Do I learn best auditorially?
Hmm.
Do I learn best through feeling, clairsentience?
Hmm.
Right? I mean, what is that language that crosses that barrier between
Right.
frequencies?
Well, and what's funny is if you sit with yourself, this is something I've noticed more with like like me personally, but like with a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, I can't turn my brain off." I'm like, "That's not the point."
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Right.
Because I'm like,
Who
"Oh,
said you have to turn your brain off?
it's just sitting quietly." But the funny thing is that there's um the energy blocking you
Hmm.
will come up first.
Yeah.
That always like when you
Yeah.
go like when you're gonna go to the gym, what do you feel first? Resistance. I
Yeah.
don't want to go. Or like,
Yep.
oh, I should eat like this vegetable thing. Like I know I'm gonna feel so much better after I eat that, but oh, I really want a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Like the thing
Yes.
like the resistance comes up first. So when you sit quietly, even like eyes open, not necessarily a meditation, of
Yep.
course, all the things like because this is why a lot of people are on their phones or have their headphones on or whatever,
Yeah.
distracting themselves. Because the second you sit quietly, the answers are trying to come to you,
Yes.
all the
Right.
but literally all the crap that you don't want to think about comes up
Yeah.
first.
Exactly.
It's always that way. And so a lot of people are like, "Oh, I just can't sit quietly. I can't turn my brain off." And because
Yep.
as it happens to me, I'll literally sit on my porch and I'll be like thinking like, "Okay, I need to do laundry. I need to do this. I need to do that.
Uh-huh.
Man, I wish that girl hadn't said that thing to me in third grade." Like,
Yeah. Completely.
and then once all that like moves out and
Yeah.
processes through,
Uh-huh.
then more answers come through, which of course it's not quite like that now and today for me because I've learned how to manage.
Yes,
But
exactly. But in the
but
beginning, right?
yeah, you just
It's
sit there and you're like,
hard.
why is my brain beating me up?
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting that you say that. I'm looking around. Oh, because one of the things that I teach clients or, workshop participants, and
Hmm.
it's actually on my YouTube channel,
Oh,
uh,
perfect.
is a candle meditation.
Ah.
And it's not a hypnosis thing. It's a metaphysical thing. And it helps my clients learn mystical meditation,
Hmm.
which is, if pardon the use of the word prayer for, I don't mean it in a religious Catholic way,
Right,
but
right, right.
prayer, connection with the higher realms, however
Yeah.
you define that, or the higher self.
Hmm.
But what happens through this candle meditation is it helps my clients learn to deactivate the primitive mind,
Mm.
right?
The monkey bit. Yeah,
The
the
part of the mind that keeps us, in fight or flight or in constant motion.
hmm
Some authors or writers have called it like the annoying roommate, uh, right?
Yeah.
Uh, or, just the part of our mind, that resistance piece
Hmm.
that doesn't know how to be quiet or doesn't know how to relax or be still.
Part of the ego too. Yeah.
Absolutely. The egoic mind is like, oh, this is a waste of time, or,
Right.
pulls you off course, right?
Mhm.
But also at the same time, Heather, it activates the higher mind.
I love that. Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna write that down to
Yes.
link that below.
Yes, absolutely. The higher mind, right? That's the infinitely wise, intuitive part of you that is very grounded
Hmm.
and has the answers, has the solutions.
Oh
And even
yeah.
the part of you who doesn't have to have all the solutions and is totally okay with that.
Yeah. And it's that's the funny thing is like sometimes higher self I'll be like, "Hey, should I do this or do that?" So I gotta do whatever you want. And it's like that wasn't really the answer I was looking for.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. A lot of my clients through this process have realized like a lot of times it isn't a matter of like yes or no, good or
Right or
bad.
right or
Right.
wrong.
It's just a
Yeah.
matter of like whatever it is. One of the it reminds me one of uh my life mentor said something very moving to me that has stuck with me that I share with my clients, who are dealing with that conundrum all the time, the second guessing and overthinking
And
and
I don't want to
letting
make the
something.
wrong decision. Yeah.
Exactly. It's connected to fear. But he said, Amy, just make a choice and whatever it is, dig your heels in. right?
Right.
Just commit to that decision.
Right. Just yeah, because the squirrel that doesn't decide which way to go gets run over.
Right, exactly. Right. Don't be like the squirrel, Heather, right?
That's what I tell my
That's
husband
our
when I
message
can't
today.
make a decision about something. I'm like,
Yep.
I know I'm the squirrel in the road that can't pick right now.
Exactly. Just make the choice. And spirit, I mean, for me, I was lucky because I think when we are in a very vulnerable state and we
Mm-hmm.
recognize like the answers are beyond us,
Mm-hmm.
that we are way more receptive to allowing the answers to come through us,
Mm-hmm. Well,
right?
and sometimes there's so much energy on it too.
Oh,
At least I've recognized that there's so much energy on the answer
yes, yes.
that like there's a lot blocking the answer
Oh,
sometimes. Because
completely.
if I'm reading a client, boy, I could tell which questions they're asking they really want the answer to.
Yeah.
Because I'll get like a smack of energy in my face. I'm like, oh, okay, so
Yep.
this is very important to them. So let me just clear that out of the way really quick.
Yeah.
Let's pull the
Exactly.
curtains back,
Uh-huh.
because they're very invested in needing to know, and it's always around money, health,
Yes.
and
Oh my
love.
gosh.
Money,
We'll
health, and
get into
love.
that. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll
those
get
are
into.
those are the big things. Yeah, no, it's yeah. And anytime I like if I do a workshop around those three things, like I'm like, I need to just pick one because anytime I do all three, oh Lord.
Oh, yes.
To- oh, it's a lot of energy in the room. You're like, oh Lord.
Completely. Right.
Yeah.
Because there are absolutely, there's universal themes woven throughout the human experience.
Mm-hmm.
And as a psychic or medium, like we are bumping up against that all the time in our work.
Oh yeah.
It is,
Oh,
yeah. So,
it gnaws at me when I feel something. I'm like, okay, this isn't mine. Who's in
yes,
who's
right.
who's in my space right now?
I know.
I'm like, who's connected to me? And
Yes,
because it's
absolutely.
very random and or
Yeah.
you'll be thinking something and you're like, wait, that's not mine.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, and I've heard other mediums say, "Oh gosh, at the end of a session, like close it up, right? Close
Yeah,
the door and
right.
everything." And
End
I get
it.
that,
Yeah.
especially like training I've had like from mediums in the UK is like, okay, it's an ethical thing, like close it down. However, I in my experience, spirit doesn't always work that way.
If spirit has more to tell you, they don't let you shut the
Yes.
door that easily,
Yeah,
or
I
they're like, "Hey,
agree.
I'll be right back."
I agree many times, and I'm sure Heather that this may resonate with you, especially if I'm doing like a grief and loss session
Mm,
for a client, and um, the soul of the person, the loved one who has passed on, wants to get my undivided attention.
mhm,
I have a practice of always going into a deep trance state before a client comes into my space, especially in grief and loss,
mhm.
especially if it's a brand new client,
Right.
and giving my absolute undivided attention to that
Mhm,
spirit to bring through, healing messages. And many times after the client leaves, especially if they're doing like a series of healing sessions, that energy, that soul will stick around.
mhm,
And, I've heard other mediums say, oh no, that's not good.
mm.
But I don't, it's not that I'm living a disquieted existence.
Right. You manage it. You're like, oh,
I
okay,
manage it.
okay, you're kind of here. Cool. Just stay in your corner. We're good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will hear distinctive soul energies say, okay, are you ready?
Mm,
Or I'll sit down and spirit will say, you know what? I'm going to give you, it, the spirit will download whatever, give me information or something. Maybe it's for a book or a blog, or maybe it pertains to a client. And they'll give me just a little that day, and they'll say, I'll say, that's all. That's all. Oh, but you're extra distracted today. So that's it, right? That's it. We're done. Cutting you off,
How
right?
respectful. I love that.
Very.
I don't always get the respectful ones. They're like,
Oh,
no, they're like, you've got to tell them this. I'm like, all right, just whew, chill. Because
yeah,
I love and hate when the message comes in so quick and
yeah,
it's like speed
completely.
and I can't articulate it fast enough. I'm
Yes.
like, wait, hold on, pause.
That's a thing. That's a thing. Or you get multiple spirits who come in,
Oh
right? And
gosh.
it's like a tennis match, and you're like, whoa, shut her down. Like the
Right.
most dominant spirit step forward, the other one step back.
Right, right. You're like one at a time. Hang on.
Right. And it's like being a teacher, like, woo, one at a time,
Right, and
right?
they're so excited to tell you everything.
Yeah, yeah. I know the answer, right? I know the answer. It's like, oh, I know. Okay, take a deep breath. It's amazing, right? And they each have their own personalities and their own mode
Hmm.
of communication.
Right, as I sometimes you do get the ones that are, mm, because there's no such thing as good or bad, but you do get the
Right.
ones that are a little more malevolent in nature.
Yeah.
Those
Yes.
those
Can
are always
happen.
fun.
Oh, it can happen.
Oh yeah, those I run into those quite a bit with it's just some strange mock-up I have, I guess, to work with people that deal with a lot of those types of beings just kind of
Mhm.
being in their space.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because I had to contend with them a lot in my spiritual
Sure.
journey.
Sure.
And so because that's the thing, a lot of we're all mirrors, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
it's very much like you're healing yourself when you heal others.
Oh, yes.
And so there's always this mirror thing because I've said this to my husband. I'm like, why do I always run into these types of beings, and why am I always dealing with a lot of unconscious energy and a lot of this and a lot of that? And he goes, well, that because that's what's within you, and it's what's
Yeah.
trying to clear out. So that's why that's
Agree.
what you're finding in others. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we psychic each
Yeah.
other sometimes. I'll be like, can you just be my husband right now and not the psychic guy? Like,
Exactly. Do you know it's the cutest thing someone one of my clients said, I get a lot of other I get psychotherapists
oh yeah.
in my chair
There
a lot,
oh
right?
yeah.
And
I have a whole circle of those.
yeah, other hypnotherapists or obviously a lot of people in the healing realm, but I was working with this very, very beautiful, brilliant psychotherapist, and we were talking about just that very topic, and she said, well, Amy, we teach what we need to learn. And I thought that was very profound and very true, right? And
Yes.
so if we pay attention, right, even the people who are listening to us that you know are spiritually inclined, working in mainstream
Hmm.
arenas, pay attention to the kind of clients or employees you're attracting, because there's some
Hmm.
embedded lessons in there. And
Yeah.
oftentimes it comes in the form of um, extreme discomfort.
Always, because that's the thing that catches your attention. Because if it's always
Yeah,
joy, I mean, if it's joyous, it catches your attention, but not nearly as
yeah.
much as a good old smack in the face.
Oh, absolutely. Or right, or the people I'm working with on unhealthy relationship patterns, they're like, why, they're on the fence of, do I stay in this what seems to be a toxic relationship, or I
Hmm.
leave? And then we look at all the here's plan A, here's plan B, here's plan C, right? We're testing them all out, and inevitably I end up saying something along the lines of, look, you either do finish the lesson here, or you leave the relationship and you start that lesson all over again.
Right, right.
Right?
Like,
The
yeah.
universe will deliver that same message until you extrapolate the wisdom
Oh,
from it
yeah.
and start making more enlightened choices.
Yes. Or at
right?
least acknowledging the thing in yourself that is attracting that, because it is
Oh,
really hard.
completely.
And I'm going to say muggles because,
Yeah,
it's fun.
yeah,
When
yeah,
my muggle friends are like, "God, why do I keep getting in the relationship with the same kind of guy with the same kind of problems, or why am I always attracted to this kind of
yeah,
guy?" And I'm
yeah.
like, "Do you really want to know?"
Right, exactly.
Because it's
Uh-huh.
like I could see it and I could hear
Yeah,
it, and I kind of want to tell you, but you probably won't believe me.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, no, it happened because yeah, it's been a thing. But
totally.
we're all mirrors. Again, it's like they were holding up something that attracts that.
Yes, absolutely. And right, it could represent unhealed trauma in ourselves.
Mhm.
But it could be that, you know, I always think of like, I'm thinking of school. Spirit brings through the example of like, um, taking a math test, and everybody in the class does poorly on the math test. And so before the big exam, the teacher does like a refresher. Like there's a day of like more remedial work where we go through where the common mistakes are made. And I also think like even after we extrapolate or we think we do, right, get the wisdom from that and vow to live differently, I do think that spirit does give us some pop quizzes, right? And
Mm.
or like some
Them are the
refreshers.
juicy ones too, where
Yes,
you're like, are you testing me right now?
exactly. And the answer is yes, 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 yes. We are testing you. And a lot of times, right, especially when it comes to being a spiritual entrepreneur, I feel like there's a lot of recurrent messages that come through in many forms for each one of us that encourages us to ask ourselves the question, how badly do you want this?
Ah,
Right?
nail on the head.
How badly do you want this?
How
Because it's not all sunshine and roses.
No, and that's a funny thing is that a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's love and light and floof and fluff and love," and
Oh,
I'm like, "It is, but there is
yeah.
also."
Yeah. Oh, there's all the back end
I was
stuff.
like, the equal and opposite of that is there as well.
Oh, absolutely, too. I mean, you can be psychic, highly intuitive. You can have a wonderful channel to the etheric realm and still miss signals
Oh,
that are being sent,
all the time, all the
right?
time. You're like,
So,
wait, why did I not see this?
yes, the client that snuck in under the radar that maybe isn't the best fit. And this
Hmm.
goes for people in the mainstream world. It's like um you're distracted on this day, and energetically you're missing signals, nonverbals. You're listening too much for um what they're saying but not paying attention to what they're not saying.
Hmm.
You're
Hmm.
missing the nonverbals. You're not
Yeah,
asking the
the right questions.
yes, the
Or you,
targeted
right.
questions.
Sometimes you ask the question a little too pointedly, and so they can
Yeah,
only answer it this much.
yeah.
Than if you'd asked it a little bit broader.
Oh, open-ended.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
it's
you do want to be
beautiful.
specific, but you also want to leave it a little more open for more information. Because I've also noticed that, like, if I ask the question too specifically, the
Yeah.
answer is like this big.
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't give you any information,
Not really, no.
right? It doesn't help you to know that person on a deeper level or even help
Hmm.
them know themselves,
And sometimes
which
you
is
come
the
out being
goal.
like, that wasn't what I was looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we walked through the near death experience,
Hmm.
the mediumship unfoldment process,
Yeah.
right, of all the clairs and the knocking on the wall, which I now understand is a physical mediumship thing.
Yeah.
Um, and then, I'll fast forward a little bit on my journey, realizing too, again, hypnosis was just, the platform. through which all other gifts then were refined. I
Hmm.
like to say, not discovered, but refined, because we all have those gifts, right? But this was the perfect, platform,
Door. Yeah.
modality or doorway through which spirit could enter.
I love that. I love that.
Right?
It's yeah, Spirit came to me and was like, "Hey, do this thing and it will open doors for you and it will guide you along your way."
Yeah, and it really has. And I will say, who I was 10 years ago and who I am now is I'm a lighter I'm a lighter being. And in terms of my symptoms, I mean it's crazy because one of my life lessons and challenges was to consistently ask myself, like, can I still, or challenge myself, can I be useful at 60% of what I used to be,
Hmm.
in terms of physical energy? And at times, I mean, Heather, the plot thickens. Last January, I was diagnosed with another rare condition called, yes, I mean, the journey gets crazier. I'm like, could I have really have signed up for two rare conditions that are ahead of medical science as
Hmm.
part of the same soul contract? Initially,
Hmm.
I was pissed.
I would be too.
Pissed,
I would be
right?
too. I'd be
I
like,
was pissed. People are like, well, you mad at spirit? I'm like, no, I'm mad at doctors for not keeping up with my medical needs, for not understanding this crazy ass body that I have. I was mad. And so uh,
right?
it's funny because I go through 10 years, and again, spirit's like, on the days I felt horrible, spirit's like, well, here's the thing, Amy. You don't need to have physical energy because you're using our energy, right? And so early on, like literally the first month or two I started working, spirit's like, no, no, no. We need to help you understand you are a conduit for energy.
Mm,
We will move through you.
yeah.
And all
Because it
you
is
need to do
effortless. Yeah.
absolutely is open your heart, open your mind, um, have the purest of intentions, right? For the greater good of all beings who step into your space. And this will be a long and fulfilling journey. And
Hmm.
so here we go. So I have learned over the years to use my own tools, most of which have been downloaded directly from source. And in
Fabulous. Love
order,
that.
yeah, in order to turn down the volume on my physical symptoms. Now, people around the world, there's lots of support groups for people with ME, and a great many of them can't work. A great many of them are bedridden. A
Hmm.
great many of them experience the highest levels of emotional trauma for the lack of understanding of this pretty debilitating, potentially debilitating condition.
Yeah.
And it's been compared to MS, and at times it's been considered worse in many cases
I
than
was gonna
MS,
say it sounds like it. It's
right?
like it's just as bad or worse than MS. I was gonna say that, but yeah, you already did it. You
Yeah,
psychic you.
and the hardest part is that doctors have very little interest in
Mm,
this condition because um, it doesn't take people out as aggressively or as
mhm,
predictive or as predictably as,
mhm.
say, like certain types of cancer or
There's not as much
heart condition.
money in it.
Yeah, there's not as much money. They're like, oh, so what? People are, I mean, this sounds callous, and I certainly don't believe this is true of the entire medical community.
Right.
But most of them are like, okay, so you're going to feel like you have flu symptoms every day,
Hmm.
and you need a lot of sleep, and you won't be able to work,
Right.
but you might live 20 more years. So next, right?
Yeah. And I feel that way about the cancer world anyway, just because
Mhm.
like there's a lot of money to be had in that industry.
Yeah, there is lots
And
of
I'm
drugs.
yeah,
Yeah,
lots of, and the same with di
protocols and
diabetes and all
yep.
like there all these other diseases that are much more common generate a lot more um cash flow for hmm, pharmaceuticals,
Yeah,
doctors. There's more flow to it. And so when it is something like this, where it's like, okay, I feel like I'm dying. I could potentially die, but I could also live a really long time. There's not a lot of information about
yeah,
it. And, and because it's rare, there's less people who have it, who are sick with
yeah,
it. It's
yes,
not like you're gonna like be packed out with patients all the time.
yeah.
They're a little less inclined to jump into it.
Yeah, my medical clinic, one of the medical clinics I use, don't even have it as a drop down item to label. So they're constantly labeling it as fibromyalgia. Well, I want to jump out of
Oh,
my skin because it is not fibromyalgia, right?
I had a feeling that was what they were doing to
Oh,
you. I don't know
right?
why in the beginning when you were telling me everything, I'm like, I
Yeah,
guarantee they probably said you had fibromyalgia. I
yeah.
just like had that in the back of my head, and sure
Yeah.
enough.
And it's, and again, I mean, are there some commonalities between the conditions? Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
But there are some distinctive differences in this incredible medical brain, in Michigan way back when really, really understood that. And they need to be treated differently.
Hmm.
My body cannot break down the kinds of medications that people on with fibromyalgia are
Hmm.
taking. And I mean, the hallmark, I guess, of this condition is post-exertional malaise. I can absolutely hike uphill for 7 miles, and you'll watch me and say, "Oh my God, that woman's in amazing shape," and then I will sleep 3 days.
Ah, yeah.
My body just doesn't recover in
Hmm.
the same way. And as the afternoon unfolds into the evening, there are many, many, many months where I have flu symptoms. And people say, "Well, what do you mean flu symptoms?" I say, "Well, all right, think of like if they had COVID, like the worst kind of COVID,
Right.
flu symptoms you can have, and then multiply that by two."
No.
Right. I mean,
Oh
you're
man.
praying for an early death. And that this is without exaggeration. And I have the highest tolerance for pain. I really do. And I do not take prescription pain
I would say
medication.
you'd have to. You would
I
have to.
do not, I mean,
Whew.
once or twice a year, I might have to break out prescription pain medication, but I use all of my other tools.
Hmm.
And rest. I mean, there's no shortcut around it. Rest. And so the candle meditation, mystical meditation, sitting in the power, all the mediumship tools and skills that I teach my clients, I've been using on myself for a decade, and I can tell
Right.
you without a shadow of a doubt, they work, they work, they work.
Right.
Now, last year, I I think only twice in 10 years have I ever canceled a session with a client, which is pretty flipping amazing.
Yeah.
And again, that I don't take credit for that. That's the spirit realm moving through me, because some of those days I can honestly tell you I did not feel well.
Hmm.
But I also, um, I put my heart and soul into my work. My sessions are long, they're very deep, and my clients are they're my heart and the soul. It's why they do what I do, and so it's very important to me that I'm the you know purest, most effective conduit for to the higher realm, which means I've got to be on my A game, and I have to
Hmm.
have tools to take care of myself,
Oh yeah.
or I'm not going to be doing what the spirit realm has called me to do. Well, so last January, I had a horrible through the pandemic. Just a tiny bit of background. I, for whatever reason, stopped being able to digest solid foods. And it
Mm.
was very, very serious.
Mm.
Horrible, horrible pain in my gut. Again, a whole bunch of different doctors, testing for parasites, looking for, ruling out all the common things, Crohn's disease, anything and everything you could think of intestinally related. Nothing's coming up. Months and months and months turns into 2 years, 3 years. right now we're almost on the other side of the pandemic. Last January, I had a client who was coming in the evening at 6 p.m., and I had endured an entire day of not being able to stand up straight because the pain in my stomach was so intense. And it always hurt, but it was coming in these upticks or waves of intense pain. And I thought, oh my gosh, do I have a kidney stone? And this is just referred pain. Did I eat something I can't digest? It was horrible. I couldn't breathe. So I remember calling my partner and just saying, where are you? I have to drive myself to the walk-in clinic 5 minutes away. Meet me there. I get to the walk-in clinic. They're like, okay, well, first we're going to make sure your blood pressure is stabilized. And then we're going to tell you, like, can you drive yourself to the hospital or do we need to call an aid car? Because my blood pressure was a little bit wonky. And I mean, the pain was like tears were coming. Again,
Mm.
super high tolerance for pain.
Right.
I go to the ER. I drove myself. Probably wasn't the safest thing to
Oh,
do.
I was
My
like,
partner, yeah,
I was like, girly.
I know. My
Oh.
partner meets me over there, and I get this physician's assistant who is, oh, I owe this man. Um, taking some background information for me, um, giving me medication, running blood work and all kinds of tests, listening to my stomach, all the things, sends me off to a CT scan. And he said, Amy, you're not leaving here till we figure this out. By the way, I've had many trips to the ER over the years for dysautonomia and near syncope, like fainting, tunnel vision, all these things. Whether it's caused by the ME or this other condition. So finally, I get a CT scan where they're like pretty much all night. And the radiologist or whoever's looking at it notices some sort of narrowing in a main artery. It's so the aorta runs here, and then there's this celiac artery that runs off the aorta,
Right.
and it looked like it looked restricted. And the celiac artery, for people, non-medical people watching this,
Okay.
um, provides blood and nutrients to the digestive organs. And so
Ah.
whoever looked at that imaging, sent it up the food chain to the vascular surgeon on call. And he
Mm-hmm.
looks at it and he's like, that's a little odd. I'm not sure if that would be causing all of the pain and the problems. And
Yeah,
they
but it
let
had been going on for
go.
a long time though, where you weren't able
Yes,
to. So it's like
I know.
it
And they let
compiles.
me leave. And they let me leave. And I think they referred me back to my primary doctor or
Mm.
yeah,
I hate when they're like, "Well, I don't think that's doing that. Go home."
I
Oh.
know. I know. You're not having a heart attack. You're not having a stroke. See you. Um,
Ah, I hate those. I hate those doctors.
so it
Because
ends up that they
you
ex-
know.
exactly. Well, what can they do? They can't, they don't know what it is. Exactly. So anyway, it goes to my GI doctor, gastrointestinal doctor. He looked at it and I said, do you think that this is a problem? And he goes, oh, yes. And he sent me to another vascular surgeon who said, Amy, this looks like what's called medial arcuate ligament syndrome. Essentially, there's a ligament, a band of tissue wrapped around compressing the celiac artery. Okay. Fast forward, there's only one surgeon at a trauma hospital in Seattle that does these surgeries, and it takes 9 months to get on his table.
Oh
nine
Lord.
months.
Oh Lord.
9 months. I'm losing weight. I
Ugh.
can't eat solid food, all
Mm.
the things.
It's like I have an
Nine
answer,
months.
but now mm,
Exactly. And
mm.
they haven't done a lot of research on this condition either. I think it became known in the medical field in like 1969, but there weren't a lot of surgeons who did. Well, you can get it done laparoscopically, but it's my understanding that open surgery is better because you get a better view. And a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot, I don't want to misspeak, but I've heard in cases people getting it handled laparoscopically and then needing open surgery later. So
Right.
this particular surgeon did an open surgery. And I will tell you once again, Heather, I was in the recovery room thinking, how is it possible I could be in so much pain and still be alive?
Right. I know. I was just thinking that. I'm like, wow, you really had some intense mock-ups for this lifetime.
Yes, yes. And
Woo!
they had to essentially anesthetize and numb. They had to run like a needle or a tube before the surgery in through my back, down my spine, like an epidural,
Mm-hmm.
um, through the region they were going to cut into. And I thought, oh my God, like, is that, I mean, I was probably in the recovery room pretty much all day. And it was, yeah, it really was so I can't even put into words. It was so scary and so unpleasant.
Yeah.
Um, and so I ended up staying 5 days. And the first day in the hospital, my blood pressure kept bottoming out. And my partner had he stayed in the hospital till they kicked him out. And then I called him. He was on his way home because my blood pressure kept bottoming out, and they called the ICU
Uh,
and to come down. And I called my partner and said, "Turn around. You need to come back." And he's like,
uh-huh.
"Are you okay?" I'm like, "I don't think so."
Mm.
But anyway, hydration, medication, all the things, blood pressure bounces back up. Um, 5 days, I'm doing good. I'm doing okay. 7 months. In the last 3 months, up to now, I start losing my ability to digest solids again.
Ah.
So here we are. But now I have two doctors using two different protocols, and I do see that we're getting over the hump a little bit more. But the last 3 months, I've had to figure out how to survive on liquids.
Woo!
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane. And
So,
like I'm just picking up in a weird way, like because you said you have like one foot in the spiritual realm and then one foot in the physical realm.
yeah,
And I don't know, part of me like is just kind of picking up like your physical body is how do I say this? I get the messages, but they don't always come in English in like
that's
the per in
okay.
a perfect grammar way.
I get it.
Um, how do I say this? Like you're able to be so powerful in energy because your physical body is on not a lower vibration, but not as higher operating. Does that make sense?
Correct. Yes.
I'm like,
Absolutely. Correct. It doesn't my physical, but it's almost like my physical body is super indifferent.
right,
I'm still on
right,
the earth plane.
right. It's like
It's like whether
your
I could
physical
be here or
body's just
not.
like, whatever, I'm here, I got all the crap,
Yeah.
it's cool, whatever. Yeah.
Right.
It's
This
like
is, yeah,
I'm just
absolutely.
housing the soul. You know.
Exactly. That is so accurate and so spot on. And the thing is, too, I always laugh when people say, oh, if you don't have your health, I mean, your health is everything. And I
Those are
call BS on
those
that.
are such body people.
I know. I'm like, no, it's not. It's the health of your soul that empowers you to thrive on the earth plane. It's the health of your soul. Wake up, people.
Right.
And now I know that there are many other mediums around the world who have remained active and effective and powerful
Mm-hmm.
in their work, even through cancers and brain tumors. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Some of the most sick people I know are healers, and
yep,
sometimes it's because they take on a lot of the pain of their clients
uh-huh,
and they don't properly clear themselves
uh-huh,
out. So I've seen that, but I've also
uh-huh.
seen that it's because they're their body needs to be in a not a certain state, but it's kind of like, if that makes, I'm trying to figure out how to say this where it makes
Yeah,
sense, but it's
no,
like,
I know exactly. There has to be some, I believe, some physical vulnerability in order to hold on to that, the etheric energies.
right.
It's almost like we're surrendering
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a
It's
lot
like
of
you're
our
being
earthly status.
right. I mean, it's
Is
not always the case with everybody because
sure.
some people have the willpower to fully surrender and be in a fully healthy body.
Yeah,
My goals myself.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
can
That'd
I
be
just be in a
good.
perfectly healthy body and still like
Yeah,
fully surrender? But it is because we were talking about it earlier with like the smack in the face is kind of what steers you that way.
yeah.
And so sometimes we have some kind of mock up to not suffer, but have like this thing that keeps bringing us back to.
Oh, completely. It
Mhm.
helps us, once again, reorganize our priorities.
Mhm.
And I think for me, through this whole journey, I have become an extreme minimalist.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to stuff, I'm not, go ahead, throw out my new leather couch.
Right.
I'm not attached to, to me, like money is a tool. It's a byproduct of being useful.
Right.
I can have it or not have it. And I have the same level of grounding, whether I'm healthy or not healthy.
Mhm.
Because then again, too, it's what is the perfect purpose of suffering? It gives us depth. It gives us perspective. How
It
can I work with people who have cancer and mystery illnesses or are awaiting an organ transplant if I haven't walked in their shoes?
Sorry, I just picked up on a thing. You're going to be a very strong healing guide when you go on to the other side. I don't know
Oh
why that
gosh.
just came through
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you were saying like I have to walk that path to understand, and I was like, ah, that's a lot of healing guides. I think when they've taken bodies and come onto this plane, that's a thing. I'm like, oh, that's new information.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Absolutely. No,
I
I
just
feel it. I know I have like different, I don't know, spiritual soul tribes or different orders
mm,
that are working with me on different dimensions, even to
mhm,
help me be effective in this realm, but also to give me all the lessons and teachings that I will need to
mhm.
accumulate the wisdom that I would be useful in spirit form. I just
Yeah.
don't want to be in spirit form for at least another decade.
Right, right,
I
right,
have a
right,
lot
right.
of work to do, and I
Right.
just wrote this book.
Right.
You're seeing my not for resale, my proof. It's whispers beyond the veil. And so,
Yes.
fast forward to now, even through this rocky 3 month time period where I couldn't really digest very well, I go off to a mediumship conference. I exchange trance healing sessions with a very, very gifted medium colleague who lives in Florida from the Philly area. And lo and behold, the evening I got back from this conference, Spirit awakens me. Here we go. She introduces herself. I know who she is. I've never knew her before she passed, never studied under her.
Mm.
She's a medium. She's been gone a handful of years.
Uh-huh.
And she brings through the wisdom of this automatic writing piece,
I love
right?
it.
She merges with my energy. And, I get a combination of information clairaudiently. I sit down to write. We expand upon the concept she shares through automatic writing. She's moving my fingers as I'm writing. I'm also reading the book for the first time. And
That's
everything
cool.
falls into place. She creates um, journal prompts for further self exploration. And also, right, for people watching this, if you are a spiritual workshop facilitator, reach out to me because, people are able to get a license to teach this curriculum in a group setting. And I've been doing workshops for years, Heather, and I can tell you what Spirit brought through in terms of spiritual wisdom and lessons and teachings is beyond anything I could have done singularly on my own.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're so brave to fully surrender with some beings. For me, I still struggle with that sometimes.
Mhm.
With fully surrendering and letting them, like you said, moving your fingers. Like there's times where I'm reading and I do channel a little, but I back out of it very quickly because I still have some resistance to fully surrendering, you know. But no, I was like, damn, that's so brave. Like I love
Yeah, well,
it.
it's in us, Heather. It is, and I think the amazing part for me is that, like most psychics and mediums, we are admittedly all a little bit ADHD because the channels are open.
Facts.
We're lovers of life,
Hmm.
lovers of humanity. We have deep soul connections with many people.
Hmm.
Um, and we are very creatively inspired. So we usually are using multiple modalities all the time.
Hmm.
And we get lots of really great ideas and inspirations,
Hmm. Oh, I'm
right?
under the belief that when I'm ready to hear it, it'll come through.
Absolutely. And for me, for these channel teachings to come through at a time where my body feels like it's breaking down,
Mm.
my message to everyone listening and watching is like, look, you know, you don't need to do it all on your own. We are being divinely supported, divinely guided, and, you know, open your mind to trust what's coming through. I mean, you could, again, over and over again, Heather, in my life, recurrent theme of being like, on my last dollar, right, of flying desperately, right. I've tried the human engineering approach of, chasing doctors and wanting answers and expecting things to be
You've tried the forcing it method, yeah.
exactly like come to me. And some of how the spirit realm has worked with me is in the form of a lightning bolt. um and that's great, but it doesn't always work that way.
Hmm.
And but to be patient and to trust that. And so now in my work as a spiritual hypnotherapist and, a channel and metaphysical healer, I work with a lot of business leaders and entrepreneurs, to help them release unproductive patterns and recalibrate to the frequency of the authentic self. It sounds heavier than it really is.
Yeah.
Oh, they're like, wow, but I think there are a great number of people who are on that path. For some people, it may mean changing fields entirely.
Hmm.
Maybe they have a job and what they're seeking is a career calling. And maybe part of the process is removing the, scarcity mindset or
Right.
the fear of failure or
You're not worthy. Yeah.
right, or the condescending voice of their mother or father that told them you need to be handed a paycheck every 2 weeks or you're not productive or useful. Right. Oh, I've been down that road with my mom for
I was
sure.
like, not gonna, I'm not gonna say.
Right. I know my mom told me in the beginning, right? And I'm not, saying this to create ill will energetically. But my
Of
mom was
course.
like, oh, yeah, this will be a great hobby. Sounds like a great hobby. And here I am 10 years later, Heather.
Right.
And I've written a book.
Oh.
I've had hundreds and hundreds of people in my space. And I started working virtually with clients before the pandemic came. People were finding me even as far away as like Egypt. I was
That's
like,
awesome.
how are people finding me? But again, that's spirit. That isn't
Right.
me. This
Right.
isn't, I just literally, I asked spirit, do you want me to keep my foot on the gas and you steer? Do I steer and you put your foot on the gas? Like, how does this work?
Hmm.
What I can say is it's synergistic.
Hmm.
And there is a whole lot of surrender in this. And also, my gosh, I mean, when you said you deal with, your personality is more like you see the humor and the
Mm-hmm.
joy and the adventure in this life path, and so do I. So do I. I see so much humor. If we can poke fun at ourselves, if we can take ourselves less seriously,
Right.
if we can stop, literally, there are so few things in our life that get under our skin that are actually life and death,
Mm-hmm.
right? They may fall under the category of, highly inconvenient, the shittiest timing of all. Sorry for swearing.
Oh,
Just keeping it gritty.
it's like, nah,
I'm
just
from New York, right?
right. Yeah, no,
I'm
go
from New
ahead.
York, and
I
in
say the F
or
word, the F bomb's my favorite. Keep going.
absolutely. Sometimes it's the only word to describe whatever it is. But and it can be, um, we can play that victim card
Right.
all too easily. And
Right.
so this for me is like, um, stop attaching your value or your worth to the holy dollar. This was the beginning of my journey. And
Mm-hmm.
then stop attaching your value or your worth even to your physical health.
Mm.
Because
Mm.
I got to tell you, that's not a thing. If
Yeah.
I can write a book with two rare conditions and a body that's not working and a bunch of doctors scrambling trying to figure out, what prescription or protocol could you know help
Mm-hmm.
Amy's body digest solid food,
Right.
and write a book and a journal to go with it, there is nothing any of you can't do out there, if you just open your heart and instead of asking, listen.
Mm. Mm.
Right? I address in my book sitting in the power and what that means. It's
Yeah.
it's spirit says it's the highest form of prayer, because instead of showing up with your shopping list of like, dear God, or
My demands.
dear late Aunt Mary, who was such a saint during her time on earth,
Hmm.
please give me back 100% of my health, the ability to run or participate in triathlons,
Right.
$2 million in the bank account, a guest appearance on the late night show, whatever it is, right? Like,
Right.
cut it out, people. That comes from the egoic mind, right?
It
Spirit
does.
gives, I mean, what, you can't always get what you want, right?
Right, right. Well, it's the you can't always get what you want, but the funniest thing is when you stop looking for it or you
Yeah,
stop attaching worth to it, it
yeah,
always seems to show up.
completely. You gotta figure out how not to need it or desire it in order for it. I mean, that's the power of manifestation. It's like, as soon as you're not attaching your
Hmm.
value, your worth, your productivity, your persona to
Your
a
ha Yeah,
thing,
your happiness to
something
it.
external, whether it be money, whether it be anything on the human realm,
Hmm.
right? We're being called to surrender.
Hmm.
We work, I remind clients who are like, oh, I want to connect with spirit. Well, here's the thing, we work for them,
Right.
right? So telling them what we think they ought to give us doesn't work real well.
Every time, every time.
Doesn't work real well.
Because
They're
there's
like,
times I sit
yeah,
back and I'm like, really? Really?
yeah, true, right? And
Yep.
it doesn't help to be angry in
No.
spirit at all.
No.
People are like, oh, I'm so, like, oh, people of Christian orient, who are Christian oriented will say, I'm so mad at God for this. I'm so whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, why? Because we're all here with the lessons and teachings for the wisdom, and we can use our pain for good, right? Or we
Yep.
can use our pain and allow it as an excuse for not completing something or not following a more enlightened path. We can allow that pain to suck us under. But that's not very productive.
Right.
Now, is it? And right? We are all here to test the upper limits of what we can do, even at even without some of the resources that mainstream society has convinced us that we need in order to have value.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yes. No, yeah, absolutely. Like I run into that all the time. When
Right.
yeah, I mean, I'm not proud of this much, but I'll throw it out there. When I was like being a yoga teacher, like when I first like started my journey,
Right.
like I would have a free class and I'd get like 50 people. And it was fabulous and fantastic. And, I thought of myself as a very high valuable yoga teacher because some yoga classes, they don't tell you like why you're doing the pose.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, oh, just do the pose, then do the next pose, and that's it. And they give like no information. Whereas me, I was all about like, oh, right now we're stretching that muscle down your butt cheek that gets tight. Yeah, we're
Uh-huh.
stretching that right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sciatic nerve. Yeah. Like,
Uh-huh.
so I'm like, so whenever you feel that tightness in your butt cheek, just do this pose. I'm just,
Yeah.
me, having my humor and weirdness with it. So
Yeah.
I had this, I don't know if it was an inflated ego thing, but it was definitely like I was like, "Oh, I'm such a really valuable yoga teacher and
Mhm.
everybody loves me. Like this is great." And then I started charging like $10 a class
Mhm.
and crickets.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Nothing. And
Uh-huh.
it really just blew my mind. And I did it for a year where I was like, I'm going to give myself a year of like, because I had to pay for, how you have the charging thing online, you have to like pay
Yeah.
for all the services so that you can take credit cards and all that.
Yeah.
It got to a point where I wasn't even making enough to keep that going. So I
Yeah.
just kind of had to shut it down.
Yeah.
And that
Complete.
killed me. I went into such a
Oh,
depression.
yes.
Oh my God. It was like the
Uh-huh.
worst. So then I felt like I'm just a shitty yoga teacher. Like, how are these people online who like don't even hold a light to me doing better? Ah, like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. And we go there, don't we?
Oh yeah.
We go there. That harsh self judgment, where we try all the time to quantify,
Hmm.
our work in the form of dollars or bodies, right? How many followers do we have?
Yeah.
Right. And and
Yep.
and that's very addicting, right? It's like
Hmm.
this dopamine
Right.
rush
It's
that we get as
validating. It feels
humans.
good.
What is
Yeah.
right? But at the end of the day, right? I always talk to business owners like, all right, well, you say you want to grow your business, but let's talk about growing your business in the right direction, not just any direction, Heather, because people don't realize, right? If I always will challenge my clients, okay, I want you to put on your light worker hat,
Mm.
right now in this, as I'm helping them learn to look through a more spiritual lens. And I want to ask them, like, why do you do what you do?
Mm.
First and foremost, like, connect to your mission,
Right. Right.
right?
What's your
You and
reasoning for
I
doing it?
Absolutely. You and I and other light workers out there listening to this understand, right? The blog that you write that you don't get paid for writing
Mhm.
may be the most powerful healing thing that you contribute. Again, we are here to raise the collective frequency,
Mm-hmm.
right? We don't, like, I do believe in, energy exchange, right? Like paying it
Right.
forward and all that thing. And I do believe those things come back to us.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's in another form, a not non-monetary form, but there's
Right.
something.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But that's the byproduct. But the overall goal isn't, to, yes, we have to pay bills. We've
Mm-hmm.
got mortgages and car payments and kids off at college and all that thing.
Right,
I'm
right,
not devaluing money, but that's not the be all end all, right? As
right.
light workers, we
Mm-hmm.
have to connect to our mission and understand, like, this isn't tit for tat. Like, here's a blog and this is worth 3 new clients
Right,
this month.
right,
That's not the way the spiritual economy works.
right. And sometimes it's a
So
very future thing.
absolutely, very,
Like,
very
like
future.
I've done things that were like a few years old, and then all of a sudden, like I did a yoga video forever ago, And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it surged up like 3 years
Yeah.
later. I was like,
Yeah.
weird.
Yes. Completely,
Sometimes it's a
right?
little pocket of energy for future stuff.
Absolutely. And the other piece of being a light worker entrepreneur, Heather, is, we're here to administer to our soul tribe,
Hmm.
right? I mean, the spirit in this book talks about all of this, the frequency match, how
Yeah.
important it is. Like,
Hmm.
we can't be all things to all people.
No, no,
Um,
absolutely not.
we're not, spirit talks about, like, carrying people across the threshold, along with their pain and their trauma and all that stuff. No, people should be coming open and ready
Right.
for whatever it is you have to offer,
Right.
right? They have to be teachable souls,
Right. I say
right?
this
They
all the
have,
time with sales. I'm like, I'm not trying to convince you to get a
yeah,
healing from me or get a reading from
yeah,
me. I'm here if you want it. If it feels right to you, you'll know.
yeah, absolutely. Right. And as light worker entrepreneurs, we should be, the integrity piece is turning people away who deep down in your soul, you don't, spirit advises you against
Hmm.
working with this and it's nothing personal. It may
Right.
be a divine timing thing. It
Oh,
may be
yeah.
that they have more, legs in their journey,
Oh yeah, firing clients
before.
is like the hardest thing because you're like, I don't want to say goodbye to that money, but this program is really not
Yeah,
for you.
completely.
Or like, hey, like I've already done what I can, like, and you're still coming to me, like you need to find a different healer. Like I'm capped for
Yeah,
being able to meet your needs at this point.
absolutely. Right. So we can always ask spirit, like, have I taken the soul as far as I can
Right.
in their journey with the tools that I have? And sometimes the answer is yes, Amy, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Or no, there's more to be done. And those are the cases where I'll invite people to stay as long as they, maybe they don't have time, or maybe they're like, wow, what else can we do? um and then I can take out, like, some of the sexier tools, where I'm we're working on mediumship and refining the clairs, and I'm teaching them kind of graduate level stuff, where I'm
Mm-hmm.
inviting them into a group again that is a good frequency match for where they are in their journey. So,
Mm-hmm.
Heather, I hope that's helped answer. I mean, you
Yeah.
and I, we covered a lot of
I was
territory.
gonna say this has
Yeah.
been my longest and most fabulous interview ever. I was
Oh,
like,
oh, Heather, likewise. I'm telling you, you and your husband such incredible dynamic souls. And I so appreciate the light both of you are infusing in the world through the great work that you do individually, and also through this podcast, because I feel like I'm just now in my 10th year of service to the spirit realm, really meeting my soul tribe. And it's happening through my podcast
right, right. That's why we wanted to do
connections.
this because we wanted to
Yeah.
find more like and talk to everybody and anybody. Like talk like
Yes.
anybody who's willing to just like be on here and want to talk. Like, hey,
Yeah.
oh, you do grounding sheets? Let's talk about that. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you have a gym? Let's talk about that. Like,
Yeah.
oh, like let's talk about it. Like
There's a lot of genius energy out there. And I think too, light workers have a growth mindset. And it does put a fire in our belly to learn more things, but also to provide a platform for other people to shine
Oh
and
yeah.
to share the uniqueness of what their soul has been called to bring through in this realm.
Yeah, and that's like just on a personal level for me, like I've noticed when I lift others up, even if it's just in conversation.
Yeah.
Like I have a girlfriend who works at a travel agency and she just won the baking competition that they hold at the end of the month again because she's fabulous. And she's literally like 23 years old and she's like
Oh,
out baking all of these ladies who are in their 40s and 50s and she's like,
oh,
"Man, their hate for me is hard." And I was like, "It's okay. They don't actually hate you. They're just
yeah.
mad at themselves. Like it's
Right.
all good." Like
Right.
I was like, "You're fabulous. You're beautiful. Like you're also
Yep.
a great cook." I'm like, you're good. Like, don't take it too. And she's like, I love talking to you. I always feel so much better after, even if it's
Um,
just a muggle conversation.
Absolutely. Look, this is what her soul, is needing to bring through at this season in their life. And I work with plenty of young people, Heather, that blow my mind with their level of spiritual sophistication. They are the
Oh, yeah.
oldest souls on the planet, right? And age just is a number.
Really? Yeah. Yeah.
And I, as everybody in our inner circle, our clients, they help shape us and help us refine our tools and our skills through their light, through their conundrums and challenges.
Hmm.
It's amazing, but I
Yeah.
appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you. This was fabulous. And
Oh, well, thank you.
thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for making it this long. We're a little long-winded, but hey, we had a lot of great things to talk about.
Uh-huh. People
And
can find me online.
yes.
Yeah, sensoriumhypnosis.com. Sensorium stands for senses, sensoriumhypnosis.com. Easy to find me, easy to book a consult, easy to find my book, easy to read my blogs. There's just things on there that might provide some good information to other helper healers out there.
Absolutely. And I'm going to link everything down in the description below. So if you want to check out some of her stuff, I'm going to try to find your candle meditation on YouTube and link that down below as well.
Oh, that's
I'm
great.
going to throw all that stuff down below. And thank you everyone for tuning in. This has been a very healing and wonderful conversation. I just feel totally elated. This is fantastic.
Oh, thank you, Heather.
All right.
Have a
Thanks,
great day.
everybody. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, audience.